Thank you.
You got it. We get some reaction from the panel. John, Neera, Amy, Ramesh. Neera, let me start with you. Your party, a little bit split on this when it comes sort of the hawks and the doves. You know, you work at a think tank that does try to get into foreign policy. What are you hearing from the progressive base when it comes to what the president's trying to do in Syria?
Oh, there's a lot of anxiety about what the president's trying to do in the Middle East, right? And I think what's energizing it is an anxiety. You know, people are really haunted by the last Iraq war. And the truth is we put a lot of boots on the ground, and it had a really negative repercussion. I mean, we're still dealing now throughout the world with the repercussions from George Bush's war in Iraq. And so I think actually that really permeates this debate. And I think people think about the politics, but I also think what I recognize about the president's position about ground troops and a large American footprint is that it can have negative repercussions. It's not just a
no, and there's no doubt that's what's haunting. That's what haunts him more. I mean,
absolutely,
it's a different. It is politics, but it's a different politics.
But it's also that if it's just a U.S. war with ISIL, right? Or
right. That's what ISIS wants.
Yes, that also will create real problems for an effort to defeat it. So I think everyone talks about the politics, but I think there's a real substantive reason why a large footprint is a problem.
Stanton, Capitol Hill. Seems that's where you see this rubber meet the road. It really is anxiety. Iraq fatigue, it's the new Vietnam fatigue, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, if the public is haunted by it, politicians are very much haunted. I mean, we're not talking about the Clinton administration here, right? We're talking about the Obama administration, and there's a reason, partly because of her votes on the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think you see this playing out in Capitol Hill. Nobody wants to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. You know, they're willing to give him money to train people.
They don't even want to authorize it. They claim they want to authorize it. Oh, yeah, we should vote on it, but
we'll wait till next.
Yeah, we'll wait till next year.
Yeah. Next year again.
Yeah. After the election. After.
Yeah. And which election exactly are they talking about? Is it 2014? Is it 2016? Like, you know, I think it's very toxic right now for everybody on the Hill. Ramesh
and Amy, I mean, it is this sort of you feel the anxiety. The military leaders, I don't think they can win with this strategy, but they know that the public, I mean, this is where you feel this
the
tugging.
Tension, right, was pretty clear in what you put out there. And look, the American public, too, this is what's fascinating doing this. I know we said there's not just politics involved, but there obviously is a lot of politics. The fact that this is happening 40 days before an election is important to remember, in that if you're Democrats right now and you wanted to make this election about the issue which you are strongest on, the economic security issues, right, to make the contrast between the Republican economic plan and the Democratic plan, about it all. We're talking about security, and it is permeating. Look, watching voters right now, there is a security concern, a safety concern that is palpable.
Ramesh, before I let you jump in, let me play. Republicans are, it's a 2002 flashback. I got a couple of ads that they're doing now. Let me run a couple of them. The ads were in places like Iowa and in a little more rural areas, swing districts, where Republicans are doing the terrorism. The terrorism attack. Hey, Democrats, weak on terrorists. Good politics for the GOP?
Well, you know, terrorism was one of the remaining advantages that President Obama had, where he was rated with a pretty good job approval, and that advantage has now collapsed in the CBS New York Times pullout this week. I think they're in a very precarious position. If you look at the House vote earlier this week, Republicans in the House were actually more supportive of this action than Democrats were. So he's going into this conflict with a split party. And I think that vote overstates his support on Capitol Hill, because Republicans are still deferring a little bit to the commander-in-chief, and Democrats are still deferring to their party leader. But those things are going to erode over time.
That's right.
All right. Sorry about that little, I caught the control room off guard there when I was telling them when I wanted to pull to that ad, but that's okay. We're just in week 3 here. Anyway, up next, the anti-tax revolt. People actually saying, tax me more, sort of. And it's happening in a place you'd least expect.